Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Dear students, I hope you people are fine and everything is fine with you. I'm Saima Tunoli with the civics lecture number 10, and today we will be doing the constitutional development. In that we have been doing the different phases from 1947 to 73 of the constitution making task. But before we start our next topic, I will be giving you a explanation or the reasons for the failure of the 1962 constitution. What were the factors which led to this failure of the 1962 constitution? First thing was that it was a one-man show, as basically President Ayub Khan himself was the one person who was organizing everything for this constitution making, and without any help from other organs of the government, this constitution was being made with the help of the BD members. And according to former Prime Minister Chaudhry Muhammad Ali, he said that the constitution of 1962 is for the president, of the president, and by the president. Second reason was negation of fundamental rights. Originally, the fundamental rights were not included in the constitution, and a nationwide protest forced Ayub Khan to make the first amendment in the constitution, through which some fundamental rights were inserted in the constitution. Still, the emergency powers were frequently used by the government, making the people to raise their voices against it. Third, indirect elections. Elections for the president and the assemblies were made indirect. 80,000 basic democrats acted as a college of electors. Thus, the people were deprived from the right of universal adult franchise. कहीं भी डायरेक्ट वोटिंग के थ्रू इलेक्शंस नहीं हुए. फोर्थ, presidential dictatorship. The constitution introduced presidential form of government, which was considered to be a form of military dictatorship of Ayub Khan. Practically, the National Assembly was helpless to impeach the president, as he was answerable to none. He could reject the bills passed by the National Assembly, thus making his all omnipotent. Yani he was himself present over there, and no one was there to question him, and he will be answering to none. Fifth, no checks and balance. Although there was a presidential system of government, yet the president and his ministers exerted immense influence over the National Assembly. They could get legislation of their choice. Resultantly, the executive got supremacy over legislature and the judiciary. As we know, in a presidential system there is a policy of checks and balances, which was not in this one. Sixth, one party rule. Ayub Khan, who made a fun of the politicians, became a soldier turned politician himself. When he set up a faction of the Muslim League by the name of Convention Muslim League, he was himself chief of this party, which looted the treasures of the country. Seventh, lack of provincial autonomy. Autonomy here means independence, due to bizarre geographical location of Pakistan. Bizarre here, they have referred that the reason was that east and west Pakistan was having a 1600 kilometer of boundary of India in between, so it was not contiguously connected together, which made it quite difficult. It was claimed that the center should be more powerful. This was against the spirit of the federation. The provincial governors and the ministers could hold office during his pleasure. There was only one list in the constitution which contained only the central subjects. This thing made the East Pakistanis, or we can say each Pakistanis, more dissatisfied, leading the Awami League to present its 6 points. Eighth is negation of Islamic ideology. Ayub Khan wanted Pakistan to be a liberal state. This was why that the word Islamic was not attached with the name of Pakistan and was included only on the protest of the people. The state policies showed that the religion was a private affair and had no concern with politics whatsoever. The Islamic Advisory Council did not yield anything as its functions were purely advisory. So these were the factors which led to the failure, we can say, of this constitution of 1962. But again, when in 1970 Yahya Khan imposed martial law, so automatically constitution was to be abrogated. Now coming to our topics for today, we have this separation of East Pakistan, and this is in your book on page number 35. So what is that? In 1965, Ayub Khan was re-elected as president, and he fought these elections against Muhtarama Fatma Jinnah. Allegations of large-scale malpractices and mismanagement created a general unrest against the government. ज़्यादातर ये एक्यूजिशंस आई कि जो इलेक्शंस थे उनमें धांधली की गई. On March 25th, 1969, General Muhammad Yahya Khan imposed second martial law. Automatically, the Constitution of 1962 was abrogated. National and provincial assemblies were dissolved. Elections were to be held in 1970 as per promise of Yahya Khan. He gave a legal framework order in on March 30th, 1970. Under it, elections to the national and provincial assemblies were held on December 7 and 17, 1970 on the basis of universal adult franchise and one man, one vote. Elections were fair and free, but the result was extremely unfortunate for the solidarity of Pakistan. As a result of the December 7, 1970 elections, the Awami League of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, that was in East Pakistan, won almost all the national seats, that is 167 out of the total 169 of East Pakistan. This was so because of the boycott of the largest political party in Pakistan, which was Maulana Bhashani's National Awami Party. In the West Wing, that is today's Pakistan, it failed to get even a single seat, this Awami League. On the other hand, in two of the four West Pakistan provinces, Pakistan People's Party of Mr. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto won with overwhelming majority, while in East Pakistan it was not able to put up even a single candidate. In West Pakistan, the PPP had an absolute majority with 86 National Assembly seats. So this was the result of the 1970 elections. Bangladesh revolt. Now, after the 1970 elections, the nation was divided into two parts. That is, Awami League's victory in East Pakistan. Awami League party was the party of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, encouraged the internal and foreign enemies of Pakistan to hatch a conspiracy against the unity and solidarity of the country in the form of a revolt in East Wing of Pakistan. The eastern and the western borders of the country were almost 1600 kilometers apart from each other, separated by a hostile country, and that was we can say this India, which was in between these two provinces of East and West Pakistan. And this hostile country did its best to exploit all the weaknesses. All the capital and the government offices were located in the western wing. Keeping in view of these circumstances, when the elections were announced, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman could exploit it fully. he started announcing publicly that the West Pakistan was exploiting East Pakistan. And there were many other factors besides this that they uh, asked for this kind of revolt, or we can say protest against the West Pakistan. One of them is political awareness. Bengali people are more politically aware as compared to any South Asian people or the nation. Uh, they are the people who have a lot more know-how about the politics and its up and down. So they were claiming all the time that the West Pakistanis or the West Pakistan government are utilizing and exploiting all their resources from the East Pakistan. Second is population difference. As I have told you in my previous lecture, that the population of East Pakistan was 55% as compared to this population of West Pakistan, which was 45%. So this 5% more advantage they had, that they asked for more, and they asked that we are in majority, and so as majority will be authority, they asked for more benefits and privileges. Third, the two wings were not geographically contiguous, as they were not connected together. They were not sharing the immediate boundaries, as they had this 1600 kilometer of Indian state and a hostile state against the West Pakistan with them. Next point is role of Hindu Bengali teachers and businessmen. The nationalities in Bengal, we only think that we have the Muslim over there, but they have the Hindu Bengalis as well. And these Hindu Bengalis were mostly the teachers or the professors that were teaching the Bengali students in their universities, and the businessmen, and they had a quite influence on these people of Bengal. So these Hindu Bengalis, as they had strong and nationalistic ties with the Hindus of India, so they were all the time creating a kind of poison among the Hindus and the Bengalis, especially the Bengalis, even the Muslim Bengalis of Bangladesh, against the West Pakistanis. Bengali nationalism, again these Bengalis, they were having strong affiliation and feeling strong affiliation, these Hindu Bengalis, as against the Muslims of West Pakistan towards the Hindus of India. क्योंकि आप देखेंगे जो भी आपके टीचर्स हैं या जो भी आपके बिजनेसमैन हैं, दे हैव क्वाइट अ इम्पैक्ट ऑन द सोसाइटी, as through money and through this knowledge and everything, you can mold the mind of the people. So that was what it was happening in the universities of Bengal at that time. Undemocratic practices. Again, the people of East Pakistan were all the time blaming this thing, that the government is undemocratic. We have on and off this martial law, which makes the government or takes the government back 10 years back. So development or progress will not be possible as long as we will not be having a democratic, fully democratic republican states. Clash of opinion on the question of national language. Again, as the Bengalis were 5% more in number, so they asked for the national language to be Bengali rather than Urdu. Another important cause or reason which emerged was this 6-point agenda of the Awami League. After winning the elections, they gave a 6-point agenda in 1970. The 6-point agenda gained great popularity among the Bengali masses. Following are the points we have. They are federal form of government with a directly elected government. Federal form of government बनाई जाए और directly elected हो. federal government's control to be limited to defense and foreign affairs, all other subjects to be entrusted to provincial government. That is, the federal government will only be dealing with the defense and foreign affairs of the state, and the provincial government will be relating with other issues. Third, separate currencies and independent fiscal policies. Fiscal policies are your financial policies for both the provinces with the purpose to prevent flight from east to west Pakistan. Flight of what? Flight of capital, that is money. इन्होंने ये कहा कि सेपरेट करेंसीज होंगी हमारी, जो वेस्ट पाकिस्तान का रुपी है और जो ईस्ट पाकिस्तान का टका है, they will be having their own currency and their own independent financial policies, so that they will be making their own budget and doing everything for themselves, and any benefit from East Pakistan in the form of monetary or physical form should not go to वेस्ट पाकिस्तान. यानी जो बंगाल के लोग थे उनको अपनी जो एक जूट इंडस्ट्री थी उसी का ये शक था कि जो जूट की इंडस्ट्री हमारे पास है, क्योंकि आपको पता होगा कि जब पाकिस्तान बना तो हमारे पास बहुत कम इंडस्ट्रियल पावर और स्ट्रेंथ थी और हमारे पास हार्डली एस्टेब्लिश्ड इंडस्ट्रीज़ थी. आई थिंक or I remember out of 921 we have only 34 industries which we got at the time of partition. So all the time these East Bengalis were claiming that the jute industry they have is the one, or the kind of industries or industrial setup we have, that is the one which is providing monetary or fiscal or financial support to the West Pakistanis, and they are exploiting our resources. Another cause is federal government, that is the fifth point of Awami League. Federal government to receive its share of taxes from the provinces without having power to levy taxes. Again, provinces will be providing their share, और फेडरल गवर्नमेंट जो है वो रिसीव करेगी कोई भी टैक्सेस प्रोविंसेस के थ्रू, एंड दे विल बी हैविंग दिस पावर टू, they will not at the same time they will not be having this power to levy or impose any kind of taxes. Provinces to have full control over foreign exchange earnings and make trade agreement with foreign countries. और जो provinces हैं वो हर तरह से जो है अपने फॉरेन एक्सचेंज अर्निंग्स जो भी वो कमाएंगे, प्रॉफिट लेंगे, वो अपने यूज़ करेंगे और एट द सेम टाइम अपने फॉरेन कंट्रीज़ के साथ ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट्स खुद से करेंगे. दैट इज़ ईस्ट पाकिस्तान एंड वेस्ट पाकिस्तान, दे विल बी डूइंग इट इंडिपेंडेंटली. प्रोविंसेस टू मेंटेन देयर मिलिट्री और मिलिटिया एंड paramilitary forces, they will be having their own army. So when we talk about these two things, that is the currency or the foreign policies or especially the monetary or the financial trade policies, and again when we talk about this having two armies, then automatically there is a separation and there will be no point in living together. Events leading to dismemberment of Pakistan. Further, what were the drastic events which immediately led to this dismemberment of Pakistan? पाकिस्तान दो हिस्सों में तकसीम हुआ और दो हिस्सों में बट के ख़त्म हो गया. Yahya invited 10 prominent leaders of National Assembly to meet in Dhaka on 10th March 1970. He still wanted to bring about a kind of a reconciliation between these two victorious parties of Awami League and PPP. Mujib refused to attend. Yahya announced assembly session on 25th March in Dhaka. Awami League gave its demand. उन्होंने कहा हम इस सूरत में बैठेंगे असेंबली सेशन में जब हमारी ये डिमांड्स पूरी की जाएँ. मार्शल लॉ टू बी कॉल्ड ऑफ इमीडिएटली, military to be immediately sent back to the barracks, that is they should be gone back to their units. Responsibility for the losses of life to be determined through an inquiry. जो भी मैसेकर और किलिंग्स हो रही थी उसकी एक इंक्वायरी हो. Power is immediately transferred to the people's elected representatives that is the Awami League in the East Pakistan and PPP in the West. Military deployment and the heavy military inflow from West Pakistan is immediately stopped. यानी जो एड आ रही थी वेस्ट पाकिस्तान से ईस्ट पाकिस्तान के मैसेकर के टाइम पे, जब उन्होंने कत्लो गारत शुरू कर दी थी और मुसलमानों वेस्ट पाकिस्तान के मुसलमानों को मारना शुरू कर दिया था जो ईस्ट पाकिस्तान में आए हुए थे एज डिप्लॉयमेंट इन आर्मी और अदर सर्विसेज. सो नो काइंड ऑफ असिस्टेंस विल बी गिवन टू देम. Awami League decided to proclaim independence on 24th March 1971. अवामी लीग ने एक सर उठाया कि वो अपनी इंडिपेंडेंस डिक्लेयर कर रहे हैं. सो इट वाज बैंड एंड शेख मुजीबुर रहमान एंड हिज पार्टी मेंबर्स वर सेंट टू जेल. गंगा ड्रामा ऑन 30 जनवरी 1971. ये एक प्लेन जो इसका नाम गंगा था, इसको हाईजैक किया गया फ्रॉम इंडियन एयरपोर्ट and it was had a forced landing in Lahore airport. और ये क्लेम किया गया कि कश्मीरी जो मिलिटेंट्स थे या कश्मीरी फ्रीडम फाइटर्स थे, they took it and hijacked it and brought it to Lahore from India. But the reason behind that was to stop that air we can say flights from West Pakistan to ईस्ट पाकिस्तान विच वॉज गोइंग वाया इंडिया. और इंडिया ने वहाँ ऑटोमेटिकली अपनी जो पाकिस्तान की जो फ़्लाइट्स थी जिन्होंने वेस्ट पाकिस्तान से ईस्ट पाकिस्तान लेके चलना था ड्यूट्स को और क्लैशेस को ख़त्म करने के लिए, जो मैसेकर किलिंग्स शुरू हो गई थी, उसके लिए वो फ़्लाइट्स का जो पैसेज था वो रोक दिया. रोल ऑफ मुक्ति बेहानी, व्हाट इज़ दैट? मुक्ति बेहानी इज़ वी कैन से सीक्रेट group of these Awami League party, and they were basically the Hindu Bengalis, and they were the one who joined hands with the Indian people and the people of India, and they started killing the people in East Pakistan, and all the blame was laid on the soldiers of West Pakistan and the people of West Pakistan. So as a result, on 16th of December 1971, Indian troops entered Dhaka, and this is the time when they took over Dhaka, and ultimately later on this Sheikh Mujibur Rahman announced that we are an independent state now and we do not have any kind of link with West Pakistan, and Bangladesh announced its independence. So this is all for today, and inshallah in my next lecture we will be studying or doing the 1973 constitution, which is the final constitution now at the moment. Thought of the day is your country is your identity, so love your country and be loyal to it. Thank you.